Hey, you, stop asking people for advice. If you feel indecisive all the time, if you feel like you always have to ask people for advice before every little decision that you make, this video is for you. And I'm going to show you 3 things that you must do in order to overcome this. You might feel like you're always afraid of making the wrong decision, or you might be afraid to follow your passion or do something unconventional because you don't want to be unsuccessful and throw your life away. Now, this is something that I'm learning in my life as well, so if you resonate with it, then you can learn it too. So first, we need to understand why we have this problem, and it goes back to a lack of agency. I realized over time that this is one of the main issues that I have. So you see, when we are growing up, a lot of the thought patterns and behaviors we have as adults are actually effects of how our parents treated us and a result of the environment we were in as children. So this causes us to seek our parents' approval through others subconsciously. All right, so let me ask you a question, guys, and be honest with yourself. What is the reason behind asking people for advice all the time? Sometimes you just need genuine advice, which is fine. Sometimes we just want someone to listen to us and validate our decision, and that's sometimes okay as well. But sometimes we ask people because we're scared. We don't feel comfortable making decisions about our lives because we're afraid of taking that accountability. Because God forbid, we're not perfect. God forbid we're not perfect, or that we make a mistake. So if you feel like you have this problem, I think it mostly goes back to not having the confidence and self-esteem that you should have. A lot of us who have been through trauma and difficult things growing up, we end up developing a certain personality type, and we become people pleasers. When we grow up feeling like our emotional needs aren't met, we're left to conclude that other people's needs and wants are more important than our own. And so we compromise what we want and what we need for the sake of others. Now, this can be reflected in work dynamics and friend groups, and especially relationships. So maybe you let a boss or a coworker take advantage of you because you don't want to speak up because you're afraid of getting in trouble or getting fired. Maybe you go along with everything your friends are doing, even though you're uncomfortable with the situation that you're in because you're afraid of not being liked and losing your friends. Or maybe you might try to bend over backwards, trying to please your partner and trying to obsessively try to keep them happy at the expense of your own autonomy. And this is because you're afraid of them leaving you and you'll be all alone. And in a lot of scenarios, this attitude backfires and they do leave you on your own because the neediness and the lack of confidence actually repels them. And all of these situations are related to pleasing people and asking for advice in an unhealthy way. And it simply stems from a lack of security within yourself to be and act like your own person. So back in my childhood, right, I didn't have the greatest emotional upbringing, to put it nicely. And so I didn't feel confident making my own decisions on my own, in the environment I was in. So I'd always try to ask my parents for advice. Now, when you're a kid, this is normal for the most part because you're a kid. You're supposed to ask your parents for advice. But when that dynamic carries on longer than it should, and you don't learn how to properly evaluate your options and develop the self-esteem that you need, then it becomes a problem. So as I became an adult, I found myself lacking the confidence to make my own choices. I would have the voices in the back of my head of my parents silently judging me and telling me what to do and doubting my decisions. I got to the age where I should be functioning as an adult. My parents expect me to be functioning as an adult, and yet I still have that voice in the back of my head echoing judgments and control from my childhood that still lingers, and in a way that paralyzes my decision-making process. And this is also why comparing yourself to other people, especially in your 20s, I'm 25 for example, comparing yourself to other people, everyone's at a different point in their life. It can devastate you and it can hold you back and stunt your growth even further when you do that. All right, so what we do about this, the 3 things that we need to do. The first thing that we need to do to address this problem is become aware. Become aware and realize that we are capable. Becoming aware is literally 80 to 90% of this. Because once we're aware of it, then we have the power to change it. Realize that you are knowledgeable about your own experiences and realize that you can use those experiences to come to your own conclusions. You need to realize who you are and what you want. And this will be a difficult process because a lot of us were not even taught or allowed to decide or explore who we are in the first place. And this is exactly how people become people pleasers. They don't have a solid grasp of their identity, and so their purpose becomes whatever the people around them want them to be. And so the first step is to take this information, become aware of how you're thinking, and then make the decision to reframe your mind so you can change it. Now, the second thing that we need to do, number 2, we need to set boundaries. If you don't know what your boundaries are, take some time to write them out and to define your boundaries. When we don't have a foundational understanding of our boundaries, then that's just an invitation for people to come in and take advantage of us, even if they're like narcissists and stuff. And this is especially true in the workplace and in relationships. If a boss is trying to make you work a certain time, or if a partner is trying to make you do something that you're uncomfortable with, don't be afraid to set that boundary. Don't be afraid to be like, I'm not really able to provide this, or I don't really feel comfortable doing that. And what's also important with this point is learning the power of the word no. It's okay to tell people no. It doesn't make you a mean or a bad person that you're not able to accommodate everybody's wants. And if the other person has healthy boundaries themselves, they will understand. They'll respect those boundaries and they won't take it personally. All right, finally, the third thing that we need to do is we need to find a purpose. I've said this in previous videos, I'm going to keep saying it. Find your drive, your niche. Find that thing that makes you want to get up in the morning and accomplish something. Don't worry about what other people think. Only worry about what makes you feel successful. And this could be making videos, it could be transforming your body in the gym, it could be offering a service to people, it could be developing a hobby or a skill. It could be literally anything, but you have to find it. And if you don't know it, pick something. Pick something that interests you and stick with it for a while. And if it doesn't work out, if you don't like it, then switch to something else. The key is to just commit and just start. Start that idea or that thing you've been putting off forever. Because once you do, your mind is going to be given a purpose and you'll have the drive to accomplish it. And that drive is going to carry over into other areas of your life. So just start and just take the plunge. Anyways, those are my 3 tips that I had for you. Thank you for watching. Comment anything else you want me to talk about. My Discord link and my other links are down below, and I will see you later.